Chris. Hello and welcome to Round 6 coverage of Grand Prix Memphis. I'm Brian David Marshall. I'm joined in the booth by Pro Tour champion Jacob Van Lunen. And Jacob, we are watching Sam Black there on your left. He's playing White-Black City's Blessing. That's what they're calling the deck.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would call this, looking at it. I mean, he's got Pride of the Conquerors. He's got Snubhorn Sentries, Sky Marcher Aspirants. This is, there are a lot of cards that say the word City's Blessing on them.
So this is kind of like, this is not as much of a token deck as it is a White Weenie deck?
It is much more a White Weenie deck than it is a token deck.
Okay.
To be sure.
So there you see Sam Black getting in with his occasionally flying Savannah Lions. And then making 2 servos here with servo exhibition. So 4 points of power in play on turn 2 for Sam Black. And Chris Botelho, who we mentioned earlier, is playing an Abzan approach deck. What is his deck doing, and how Legion's Landing comes down for Sam Black?
Yeah, and that's going to, instantly turn into a land here.
Wow.
Very powerful.
Chris is the person who wants to be ramping with his deck. He's playing Hour of Promise and a lot of cards that accelerate his mana development, but the Adanto, the first fort, is going to get Sam out way, way on the front foot. Here's 4th mana for Chris. Can he find anything to stem the bleeding here? Importantly
for Chris, that 4th land is a green source. Now he's going to need to find double white before he can do something like Settle the Wreckage and or Fumigate, which are both going to be really important if he wants to be able to find his way back. Oh my goodness. You see what that is?
Oh my god.
That's your favorite card.
Wow. Trial of Ambition. Everything gets +2/+1. Oh, by the way, I have the City's Blessing now too.
Yeah, so after playing the Trial...
Trial of Solidarity, sorry. That's the game.
Yes, that's it.
Sam Black just... Before the City's Blessing token can even slide into play, the first game is over in favor of Sam Black. Wow.
That was an attack for 17.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. Yeah, so Sam Black, he is playing token generation, and he's playing a lot of these cards that have City's Blessing. But the thing is, he's playing a lot of inexpensive cards that put multiple permanents onto the battlefield. So he's able to hit that City's Blessing really quickly, and then he's using cards like Trial of Solidarity and Pride of the Conquerors to kind of act as really inexpensive overruns. So there we saw, a 3-mana card that added, 10 or 12 points of damage to his attack. It would have been the same thing had he had Pride of the Conquerors in that spot.
Wow. There you get a look at Pride of the Conquerors. We saw the enchantment kind of version of this, but this is just something that, again, you talked about. You called it like an overrun. Something that just lets him just get this huge boost to his creatures for 1 turn.
Yeah, and when you're going that wide, and what I mean by that is when you're making that many creatures, you put a lot of stress on your opponent's removal spells. They're likely going to be paying more mana for their removal spells than you are playing for your threats, and your threats will often require multiple removal spells from the opponent. So this is a really good approach to beating the decks that are trying to use spot removal. Chris Botelho's deck, though, the way it deals with these creature decks, it should be pretty well positioned against what Sam is trying to do.
That's a very different game if Chris is, instead of a forest on turn 4, Chris is playing a second plains, because he did have Settle the Wreckage in his hand.
Yeah, it could have been a much different game. And Sam is a very talented player. I'm confident that he probably would not attack with everything, right? But he'd probably send enough to be lethal. That would have been a really strong settle from Chris Botelho there.
You saw Approach the Second Sun. Of course, that's what Chris is trying to do here. This is a Mastermind's acquisition deck, too. So he's got a lot of really cool things he can do with that new tutor that lets him either put a card in his hand from his deck or go into his sideboard or exiled zone to get a card.
You actually cannot get the exile zone cards anymore.
You can only do that.
It's a sad world. It's a sad world.
Yeah. But so for example, he can get a Regal Caracal in game 1 if it's the right card to get.
The Immortal Sun.
Immortal Sun is a huge card. He can get Zakama Primal Calamity. I was talking to Chris Botelho before this round, and he outraced a Chandra Torch of Defiance emblem with a Zakama Primal Calamity. His opponent, they were like late in the game. His opponent's playing one spell a turn, and it's doing 5 to him. But he's gaining 9 life a turn with Zakama. So some cool stuff. We didn't really get a great showing for the deck in that game 1, but.
And his deck has a lot of really interesting lines that give it longevity also. We didn't really get to see what it's capable of. He got run over. But he's playing an Hour of Promise deck.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he can do with this deck is he can cast his Hour of Promise, search his library for 2 lands, one of which is an Ark of Orazca, and then make the 2 zombies, because he'll have enough deserts to do so, hopefully. And when he does so, he basically hits City's Blessing right away. And then he just has this engine in play where when he has excess mana, he can just use it to draw extra cards every turn, and he can start using reactive spells and board sweeper effects and take the game completely over.
Yeah.
So
he said it's not uncommon for him to get to a position where he just casts 2 copies of Approach the Second Sun on the same turn. Also playing Beneath the Sands as another ramp spell in the deck. So this deck's and Spring to Mind as well.
Oh wow, Spring to Mind even coming
Yeah.
in. Yeah, the blue mana on that, I suppose he can produce in a variety of ways.
Well, he
has Gift of Paradise
he does
and
have
whatnot,
Gift of
right?
Paradise, yeah, 4 of those. So that's also how he casts Zakama. He doesn't have any red sources in his deck. So it's a base Abzan deck that is capable of playing spells of all 5 colors.
Yeah, this deck is pretty cool. And, I mean, we talked about it before, but...
Yeah, I mean,
again,
4 Fumigate and 3 Settle the Wreckage. So, should be fairly well set up against decks like Sam's. But, of course, I imagine we'll be seeing, Duress and the like out of Sam from sideboard. Or no, it doesn't look like he really has any way to do anything about that.
I think post-board against board sweepers, Sam can sideboard in a lot of vehicles.
Okay.
He also has Gideon of the Trials. Those types of cards match up pretty nicely when your opponent is trying to cast cards like Fumigate in order to beat you.
Okay, Chris keeping his hand here in game 2. Sam Black going back for 6 more. There you see Gideon of the Trials. Of course, the emblem makes it impossible for you to lose as long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker.
Yeah, and that emblem could actually be relevant against a deck like Chris Botelho's because he's playing Approach of the Second Sun. And it's kind of a card where, you cast it and you just win. A Gideon emblem, the Gideon itself, could be very difficult for Chris to get off the table in a longer game. Not looking at Chris's deck, eventually he can definitely get there.
Outs,
yeah.
But not really that much else.
I mean, it certainly is more likely to happen here than in most other standard matchups.
So, Profane Procession, another card that Chris Botelho can get out of his sideboard. I'm really interested in the Mastermind's acquisition angle of his deck. I love seeing all the one-ofs in his sideboard can do some really cool things for him. All right, Sam Black comes out of the gate with a Bomat Courier.
Yeah.
So this deck looks almost like Sam took his tokens list that he was playing last year and kind of jammed it together with a vehicles deck, and then shuffled some pieces into the sideboard. And
yeah, it looks like he took a vehicles deck, made it a go wide token deck, and then post board it can just become a vehicle deck.
Right. And there's the Heart of Kiran. You see Treasure Map was the turn 2 play here for Chris Botelho. Plays a checklist card. I imagine that's going to be...
Looks like another treasure map.
Another treasure map. Oh, okay. It's another way that he gets to ramp pretty aggressively in this deck. So there is Cartouche of Solidarity. Just in case you were wondering if it was in there along with the trial, it is.
Yes, that is a powerful interaction.
Wow.
The Cartouche of Solidarity with Trial of Solidarity.
Wow, Cartouche.
And then
Get in with my Bomat Courier and my Heart of Kiran, tapping his his Scrounger to crew, the heart. Wow, he's another super fast draw here for Sam Black.
Yeah, there are a number of cards that Sam could play that would be presenting lethal damage on the following turn. Sam has a trial. Even a pride would be good enough.
All right, so there's Gifts of Paradise.
Yeah, and Chris kind of forced to tap his mana here.
Gains a little life for that. Now
Oh, wow, and Stubhorde Sentry. There's a card that I hadn't really thought about it, but that card is quite good at crewing Heart of Kiran in a deck like this. It really is.
And there's the City's Blessing. Such a fast draw here for Sam. Yeah, and it does. It crews up the Heart of Kiran, and in comes everybody. By the way, there's 4 cards under that Bomet Courier now. And Chris is going to just scry twice here, using the 2 mana off the Gift of Paradise to activate both treasure maps. Pushes 1 card. Pushes another. What's he looking for here?
So I think that I'm not sure if Fumigate is even good enough. We'll gain quite a bit of life. It probably is good enough. So I think he definitely wants Fumigate. Then would likely want to be leaving open Settle the Wreckage mana for the foreseeable future at least.
So he transforms the first treasure map. Gets 3 treasure for his efforts. He does have a Fumigate in hand. Digs again.
All right.
Oh, he's also got an Approach the Second Sun in hand. So he's going to cast Fumigate. He's going to cost him 1 of his treasures. It's also going to catch the Bomet Courier without any mana to activate it.
And that's actually quite big here. I mean, that represents a lot of cards there for Sam. Sam could have drawn 4 cards off of that.
Sam pays some life and makes his Adanto Vanguard indestructible. Those cards go away for Sam. And Chris hangs on here at 9. He's going to be able to flip another map this turn, coming up. So, turns the Scrap Heap Scrounger. Activates the Heart. Gets in for 7.
And interestingly, if Sam had drawn a land that turn, I believe he had Pride of the Conquerors in play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, Chris goes up to 5 treasure, flips another treasure map.
Rather. Chris getting to the stage of the game where he could start casting Approach the Second Suns, gaining himself a lot of life.
Yeah, he's going to have to cast Approach the Second Suns here. Needs to gain that life. Goes to 9, but is he just dead? I mean, he's got to be holding, he's got to at least represent Settle the Wreckage here in a way compelling enough that Sam just doesn't attack with everything.
Yeah, and it's hard to do that for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe Sam has to go for lethal here.
Well, he can't get to lethal. Right, he can only do 7 unless he plays another creature.
Well, yeah, but he has the he has another Scrap Heap Scrounger in hand.
Oh, okay.
And if he were to play that and then crew the Heart of Kiran, he would have 10 damage.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And while it's definitely worthwhile to play around cards like Settle the Wreckage, this seems like one of those situations where this is kind of the best window of opportunity you'll have for this type of thing.
Oh, is he just going to go for the Pride of the Conquerors play here?
Oh, that may be what he's doing here. Yes.
Okay. Fatal Push is going to take down the Scrounger. It's going to take 3. Revolt gets triggered just by sacrificing a treasure. That's kind of a nice little interaction. And another Adopto Vanguard.
I like that play a lot from Sam. And he let himself get more information so he knew exactly what was going on before he decided to go ahead and...
Regal Caracal. Chris Botelho brought cats to the tournament.
Wow. And this card could get Chris back into this game. I mean, now he has, 3 bodies of his own on the table, 2 of which have lifelink. Heart of Kieran is going to be quite good at coming over the top, and that, along with Pride of the Conquerors, will be 6 damage.
But Fatal Push.
Oh,
on the
wow.
heart.
Yeah, Chris found another Fatal Push.
Wow.
Sam actually a little bit lucky that he didn't pull the trigger on the Pride too soon there.
And now you see Chris gets to start digging for cards with the Transform Treasure maps. He gets to sacrifice those treasure to draw a card. Goes 2 cards deeper there. How close is he to the second copy of the Second Sun?
Oh, it's coming. It's
you can see it right there on his planes.
Oh yeah, I believe now. Is it his next draw step? He scried quite a bit. I don't remember all the top bottom
that
have happened. So
he's also going to gain 3 here. It looks like he's got another Gift of Paradise. Goes up to 9.
Oh, so he's using his Hashep Oasis to give one of these life-linking cats +3/+3. And then he's going to attack with it. And, Sam is very unlikely to block here.
Oh, wow.
I guess he can and then just pay 4. And it kind of does the exact same thing as taking the damage.
But that gets Chris up to 14.
Yeah.
All right, Sam has to attack with everybody here.
And this puts Chris to a bit of a decision because Chris may be worried about, if the approach is not his next card, about blocking with the Regal Caracal itself. And if that's the case, then we know that Sam has at least 1 copy of Pride of the Conquerors in hand. And things could get messy very quickly.
All right, well, Chris blocks with everything. Pride of the Conquerors comes down, so Sam's not going to lose anything here in this transaction.
He will not. So he's going to essentially do 8 because he dealt 10, but then Chris was able to gain 2 off the cat.
Yeah, Chris is at 6. Can he stay alive? He goes to 7 in combat, but no, there's an If Near Deadlands.
That's something.
Oh, no, he's going to... All right. Okay, sacrifices a Hashep Oasis to give -2 to a Scrounger. So can... Oh, but...
Yeah. And that Shafet Dunes, does Chris have another Fatal Push? I think he needs one right now.
I think he does. I think he has it.
Wow. Yeah, I think so.
Fatal
That's
Push
what Chris
develop-
needed there.
Scrap Heap Scrounger.
Chris now down to 3 again.
Wow. No, I think he's down to 2, right? There's a +1 from the...
Yeah, then he gained the 1 life from the cat also.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, but here's Approach the Second Sons again. and that's going to be the game.
Yeah.
Chris Botelho manages to just hang on turn after turn after turn. Then you see his face, it's like, wow, I didn't think I was going to win that game.
Yeah, it's like skin of the teeth.
It's like the reverse version of still had all these. Chris was doing there. I still had all these cards to draw.
Yeah.
Starts looking at the top of his deck. See the two players talking. Players who all both, obviously Chris has nowhere even remotely approaching the success Sam has had. But I think two players who both really just look forward to new standard formats and the opportunity to bring their take on the metagame to play.
Absolutely. I think both of these players are very much creators.
Yeah.
They are, and for me, that's always been my favorite part of Magic is the ability to, build a new deck. It's what allows you to think about the game forever. You can lie and play a lot of that too, but you can lie in bed and think about what cards you want to play with, what decks you want to build for the rest of your life and never fall asleep. You'll just die of sleep deprivation.
I saw some Magic webcomic the other day. I don't remember which one it was, but it was basically, me about to fall asleep, and it's like a cartoon, an image of a person with their head on the pillow and their eyes kind of closing and getting all sorts of little sleepy cartoon. And then the next image is wide awake, me thinking of that one last card I needed for my deck.
Yeah, precisely.
Just yep, nope, not getting back to sleep now.
And Sam, he's been one of the most successful deck builders in the history of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
He's built decks countless decks that have been in the top 8 of Pro Tours, World Championships, any tournament you can really name.
It's funny. I use Sam kind of as a barometer for a standard format. If Sam comes to a tournament with a stock deck, that to me is not a great format.
Yeah.
Right? That's an indication that, something's afoot. Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that sentiment. And Chris is kind of, building a name for himself as a deck builder as well. These two, I'm sure both of them built their decks with the intention of attacking a metagame that was probably mostly mono-red and control decks that were blue-black or blue-black with another color. They likely were not expecting to face off against each other.
Sam Black, another player. We mentioned Seth Manfield earlier with 4 top 8s and the win, but Sam Black is another player who's in that Hall of Fame discussion. 3 top 8s, doesn't have the win, but obviously that deck building component, that metagame analysis kind of thing has been a big factor for people, and I think someone that a lot of people are going to be talking about come Hall of Fame ballot time, once those ballots go out later this year.
I think he also doesn't get enough credit for how good he is at drafting decks. His ability to put together a cohesive draft deck, a draft deck that has a bunch of cards that work well together, and he's playing with real decks when he's drafting, and not a lot of people are just playing with cards.
All right, Snubhorn Sentry gets things started here for Sam Black. Such an interesting card to see go into a beatdown deck because it does the opposite of that for so many turns.
Yeah, it's
although it can attack if you need to get triggers. That's what's kind of interesting. It's not something that has defender loses defender, right?
Yeah, it's basically Wild Nicottle, right? It's just basically a dinosaur Wild Nicottle.
Oh, we have a Gideon. Repeat, we have a Gideon.
And here I imagine that instead of making an emblem or anything like that, Sam's probably just going to make it into a 4/4 and use it to crew the Heart of Kiran. That's what I would do. Or he could plus it and then use a loyalty to activate Heart of Kiran, I suppose.
Both the same thing. Yeah, didn't do either. Passes the turn. And then Chris Botelho casts Spring. So that's the front side of Spring to Mind. That basically lets him go. He did make an emblem there.
Interesting. Okay. So Sam decided to make an emblem there.
That's a really that just creates that's 2-stage authentication for Sam here. He's if you're going to win, it's not just going to be on a first or second time. You are going to need to deal with my Gideon and win. So that may involve an end of turn cast out, followed by a second copy of Approach to Second Set.
Yeah, so it looks like Sam's going to be flipping Legion's Landing right away again, and that Stump-Horde Sentry being able to attack could be relevant here. And I believe that's the City's Blessing.
Wow, turn 4. Turn 4, and then goes up to 5 lands. He gets to ramp here. Also has just this recurring source of threats with the ability to make more of it lifelink vampire tokens.
That's a lot of damage, too, out of nowhere. I mean, it seemed like he was applying no pressure, and then suddenly he was attacking for more than 10 damage on one turn. Stump-Horde Sentry is my most drafted card from Rivals of Ixalan. Yeah. Not sure if I'm proud of that.
I've had 6 of them in one deck.
Yeah, I've been happy with it.
I 3-0'd with that deck pretty easily. It was mono white. All right, what's the play here for Chris Botelho?
Well, he's gonna need, I believe, to leave open specifically Settle the Wreckage for every turn for the rest of the game. Is my understanding of how this works.
Settle the Wreckage and Fatal Push.
Yeah, so I doubt Sam is going to be sending with everyone. But I expect him to send with enough to win the game. And that's one thing that's really, really strong about cards like Gideon of the Trials and Heart of Kieran post-board is how good they are against board sweepers like Fumigate and how much play they give you against things like Settle the Wreckage. Like these are cards where, you know, if Sam is tapping one of his creatures to activate the Heart of Kieran, that's a creature that's not going to die to a Settle the Wreckage. Or if Sam is passing the turn with a Planeswalker, a vehicle, and some creatures, that's significantly less susceptible to Fumigate than a pile of creatures for obvious reasons.
Then even if Chris figures out how to survive this, he still needs to figure out how to win this game.
Yeah, we have not seen much in the way of our promise from Chris either, and I think that's really what his deck wants to be doing more than anything else.
All right, so Gideon kicks down in loyalty to turn on Heart of Kieran.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if...
Oh, so no settle.
Cycle Stir the Sands. Cycles again.
Oh,
I think that's going to be game here.
I believe that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Sam Black turned on the City's Blessing on turn 4.
In all 3 games, right?
Yeah. I mean, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, and is able to just overrun Chris Botelho and his Hour of Approach deck. We didn't get to see much in the way of ramp from Chris Botelho, though, there. Yeah,
we didn't get to see all that his deck is capable of. We did, however, get to see what Sam's deck does, and Sam's deck is sweet. Yeah, I've not seen a deck like that. I've been playing tons of Magic Online. I've played against token decks, but they've all been like these dirtily slow, like, Anointed Procession, you know, and here he is, and he's like...
By the way, a deck that Sam really... That's a deck that Sam really pioneered, is that Anointed Procession deck.
Yeah, absolutely, and when you're looking at, weird decks, Sam is kind of the person who's going to find this. And he realized everybody's playing blue-black control. Everybody's slowing down. Like, there are these really slow decks. I don't want to be trying to assemble this Voltron of Anointed Procession and Hidden Stockpile and what have you. No, I just want to attack people as fast as possible.
You know what? Why don't we talk to Sam actually and find out a little bit more about this deck and how it came up with it. Hey, Sam. Brad David Marshall and Jake Van Lunen here.
How's it going?
We just watched you get the City's Blessing on turn 4, pretty much 3 straight games there. Is that something that you were attracted to as a deck designer, that ability to just flood the board with permanents and gain some mechanical advantage?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, as far as I know, deck designer credit actually for this deck actually goes to Andrew Beckstrom.
Okay.
but it is certainly one of the attractive elements of the deck. The deck just has a ton of cards that put 2 permanents into play, really super low curve, just empties its hand right away, and we've been really impressed with Pride of the Conquerors.
Yeah, we saw Radiant Destiny on camera earlier today, something that offers like a permanent advantage. What's the choice there between the 2 cards?
Well, Radiant Destiny gives +1/+1 for the rest of the game, and Pride of the Conquerors gives +2/+2 for the rest of the game.
Well put. Well put.
Now, what were you expecting coming into this tournament that said this is a deck that I want to play here? Like, how is this deck positioned against what you were expecting?
It's the only deck I could find that I liked my red matchup. So I expected a lot of red, and I wanted to be a favorite there. I also expect a lot of blue-black mid-range, which I've seen a lot of on Magic Online, and I think I have a good matchup, but I also think, as far as I can tell, like every deck I've tested has a good matchup there. I don't really understand what's going on with that deck, but whatever. I expected like a decent amount of various different control decks. When I sat down for my first round today, there was a blue-black mirror on my right, a blue-black mirror on my left, another blue-black mirror 2 to my right. Before, like, my opponent double mulliganed before I started the first game, all 4 people next to me had Glimmer of Genius in their graveyard. So I guess there's a lot of blue-black control, which I didn't necessarily anticipate, but I'm not sad about.
Snubhorn Sentry. When did you decide that was a constructed playable?
It's basically WoW in the Cuddle, right?
I mean, like, Beckstrom posted it in the deck list, and I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, if we're getting City's Blessing this fast, and I'm expecting to play against, like, red, I don't mind having an 0-3 blocker for a couple of turns before I start killing people.
It's also really good at crewing up a Heart of Kieran.
Sometimes. You have to have the City's Blessing. Otherwise, it doesn't really contribute.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, it offers its,
moral
it's
support.
moral support.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
It's very good at attacking to flip Legion's Landing.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily to do damage, but to flip Legion's
Right.
Landing.
Yeah, it is not a defender, which is,
Yeah.
I think, something a mistake I've seen some people make, in drafts.
Sure.
Yeah, awesome. So 6-0 here, locked into day 2. So good luck the rest of the way here, Sam, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of your white-black City's Blessing deck, as it was referred to here. So,
it's no more black than red. The black and red are both just Scrappy Scrounger and Bomat Courier. It's just White Weenie.
okay. All right. Well, there you go. Craig Wesco is happy.
All right.
White Weenie's doing well. Sam Black, thanks a lot. Good luck the rest of the way in the tournament.
Thanks.
Cool.
That's like sweet.
Yeah. Like I said, Mardu it very looked like a Mardu vehicles deck in a lot of ways, but with all the vehicles you said, like in the sideboard.
Yeah, and
So
post sideboard,
pretty
he's like, oh, well, if people want to sideboard in board sweepers, I'll just bring in these threats that are really good against board sweepers.
And you can see he was able to really give Chris Botelho's deck fits after sideboarding. So we got some commercial messages for you, and then when we come back, we have more Magic from round 6 here at Grand Prix Memphis. Don't go anywhere. More round 6 action for you here. Brian David Marshall, Jake Van Lunen. We got some time walk action, so let's head down and see what is going on. I don't even know who we're seeing yet, but I'm sure we will find out shortly. It is Bobby Fortanely playing Naya Monsters versus, no, I don't think this is, I don't know if this is correct.
This Asa Snyder is playing a ramp deck.
Okay, Mastermind ramp. Okay,
yeah,
Mastermind's acquisition. Okay, and then Naya Monsters. Okay, yeah.
Cool.
What are the monsters in Naya Monsters?
So it
Mostly
it
glory
varies, right? I think Rekindling Phoenix is really the auto for of. Yeah.
See 2 battle at the bridges here for Asa Snyder. Goes up to 24 here.
Ace's deck looks like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Let's talk about this deck for a minute. Thematic Compass. I don't know if you've had to play against that one.
I have not played against it in Constructed.
It's pretty good.
There's Merfolk Branchwalker. Is he going to leave the Chandra on top? Not if he needs land. He's not. Oh, okay, he doesn't need the land. And he passes the turn with Chandra looming for the next one.
Asa looking for green mana.
Has a Vraska's Contempt in hand, so he's ready for Chandra.
Yeah, setting up well. I mean, especially when you're playing against a deck like Naya Monsters, if you have Counter Magic and or Vraska's Contempt in your hand, and they're about to have access to 4 and or 5 mana, and they have a bunch of cards in their hand, there's no way you're tapping your mana on your own turn, because you know that you're going to be facing off against a Rekindling Phoenix, a Chandra, Glorybringer, and these are all cards that you want to deal with right away. You don't want to have to tap the mana on your turn to deal with it.
Well, here comes Chandra. And it immediately draws fire from Vraska's Contempt. And Asa Snyder, there you see, he's got the Mastermind's acquisition in hand. What is he going to get with it? It's kind of, really, I just want to see someone get a sideboard card. That's all I want to see today.
I just want to see it so bad. I mean, it's got to be fun in game 1s to go get Lost Legacy against approach decks.
Right? Oh, yeah. This is also a deck he's playing. Did our graphic completely changed here?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that's about, but fairly certain it's not accurate.
Yeah, no, we had it correct the first time there.
And there's green mana, so...
And he cycled for it.
Yeah, Blooming Marsh found there by Asa Snyder.
So I'm assuming that there are a couple of maybe Hour of Promise in hand for him?
Yeah, Hour of Promise being, one of the big payoff cards for playing a deck like this.
All right, here's the Jade Light Ranger. Draws 2 cards.
So good for 3 mana? Come on. And it's interesting because it never seems too good. It just is so good. It's like this card that makes your deck run so smoothly.
Right.
You had 4 of it.
I think the comparison someone made to was Rogue Refiner.
Yeah, it's very similar to Rogue Refiner.
Right, Rogue Refiner on its face just doesn't look like a card you want to play in a constructed deck. It's like, the power, toughness to casting cost is like not super exciting, but the ability to just make your deck run seamlessly. Once you add all the pieces together, the energy, the card draw, it was perfect. And this is a very similar card.
Okay. There's a perfect card.
Yeah, here's Vraska Relic Seeker.
So Ace has a few options here. So a tick down, and then there's a treasure to be had here by Asa.
So 3 loyalty, which is convenient.
Yes. It's enough to force Bobby to present more attacking power or some sort of amount of direct damage in order to get it off the table.
How about a Glory Bringer?
That works pretty nicely.
It's so nice when Glory Bringer gets to kill something, you don't even have to exert it.
It's even nicer when you get to exert it and kill a creature and then also kill a planeswalker with it. That feels real good. Ooh, it's a cataract. Cascading cataracts. Card helps you splash a lot of different spicy treats.
So what do you think we might see here out of... I think... No, he's content to just pass the turn here. Still has a Vraska's Contempt.
Yeah. I mean, Asa did have the mana to Vraska's Contempt and Mastermind's Acquisition that turn, for what it's worth.
All right, so cycle a land there for Bobby Fortanely. Attack, sack my treasure to Fatal Push your Jade Light Ranger. I now. Yep, just going to clean up everything here. With Vraska's Contempt, go back to 20, by the way.
Yep, back to 20. And last card in hand is that Mastermind's Acquisition. What's it going to get?
You could get a Nezahal Primal Tide. You could get Nicol Bolas, the God Pharaoh.
Zakama, Primal Calamity.
Oh, I would like to see that. All right, well, that's a 9th land.
It is.
Ooh. He's not anywhere close to dead this turn.
I'm interested to see what the plan is here. I mean, with the Mastermind's Acquisition, there's got to be a plan, right?
Oh, yes.
Is that what's in his hand, though? Is that the last card?
I believe so.
Okay.
I mean, I've been wrong before.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely possible that...
But folks, you really want to see Zakama Primal Calamity happen.
I really want to see Zakama Primal Calamity happen.
All right, Mastermind's Acquisition. He's just going into the deck, though.
Okay.
He's not going for the sideboard.
So perhaps a Wildest Dreams?
Yeah, that looks like Wildest Dreams.
Yeah, and I mean, what's really cool about Wildest Dreams here is that
So he
Asa...
gets to return X cards from his graveyard to his hand. You exile it.
Yeah.
Where, it's green X in the casting cost. So he said 2 cards, so he's just going to probably get...
Vraska's Contempt and Mastermind's Acquisition?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness. This makes me happy. He's got a Wildest Dreams in his sideboard, too, so... Chain.
Chain of Cools?
Yeah. Definitely.
Wow. This is kind of what we had wanted to see out of Chris Botelho's deck last round, or earlier this round.
Yeah, I think Chris Botelho's deck definitely has the potential to make plays like this. Ace's deck is much more a controlling long game deck, though.
Oh, this is sweet.
Not going to lie, I think Ace's deck is way sweeter and cooler.
All right, so Vraska's Contempt takes down Chandra, and now we're going to go back to the tutor game. This time he's going for a sideboard. Oh, look at this. He didn't even have to look. He's just like, I have a card right here. This is the card I go for.
This is the card
Please
that I take.
Please be Zakama. And also, please don't concede when he plays it.
I honestly believe that it's going to be Wildest Dreams.
Yeah, you think we're just going to repeat this process?
I think we're just going to repeat this process. And then next turn we may see Zakama, but...
All right, another Chandra.
It's also funny to me because so much damage has been dealt to Ace at this point. Right, it's just been this onslaught of like triggers, Bobby taking 2 at a time, and Ace is still 16 because Ace has cast at this point like 15 Vraska's Contempts or something, right? What's in the box? It's so exciting.
I think it is another Wildest Dreams.
I mean, that would be what I would want it to be.
This is like chaining together blue black. It was the flashback. 4 mana. Go get an instant.
Oh, is it Mystical Teachings?
Mystical Teachings. Thank you.
Yes, it is. It does feel like Mystical Teachings.
Well, look at this though. How many cards is he getting back?
He's getting back 4 cards.
Oh my God!
It's a nice restock.
He's like, oh, by the way, I'm getting back this Vraska, these 2 Vraska's Contempts, and this Mastermind acquisition. By the way, this game is going in the wrong direction for you.
Yes.
Wow. Like, yeah, I could take a little damage here from Chandra again. That's fine. You're drawing 1 card a turn. I'm just drawing exponential cards every turn. Like, I would like to read Vraska Relic Seeker, please.
I thought Bobby was extending the hand.
I
was
did too,
conceding.
honestly,
I was not. It wouldn't have surprised me. It is funny though when you're playing against a control deck and you have like a Chandra taking up on your side of the table and all your mana's untapped, and you're like, I concede. Sorry, buddy. This one's over and done.
Wow. This has been awesome so far.
Yeah, this is definitely the most exciting deck I've seen thus far.
All right, in comes Glory Seeker, Glory Bringer. So we just drew another Masterminds acquisition too.
I feel like you never need more than one. For what it's worth.
He's out of Wild. I believe he's out of Wildest Dreams now.
That's true. That's true.
So first things first, Vraska's Contempt on your Planeswalker.
He has another Vraska's Contempt to deal with this Glorybringer, or he could just tap out and cast Vraska.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to do.
Deal with the Glorybringer.
Yep. Vraska, get a treasure. Wow. Yeah, we're off after this round for the rest of the day. I'm just gonna go. Yeah, and he won that game from there pretty handily.
Yeah.
We jumped ahead to game 2. I assume that Nick just did extend the hand, and we missed it. It's like, oh, what am I gonna do here? Nope. Your Steward of the Elements is gonna live. Now, maybe it's confusing a moment of craving with a Fatal Push in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he's like, I know I had a spot removal spell in there somewhere. It's just the wrong casting cost. All right. Jade Light Ranger, you want that card or do you want to ditch it? If you want it, you got to keep it on there. You don't get to look at another one. Yeah, just kept it. Put 2 counters on it.
It's reasonable to do something like that too when you're playing these kind of decks. Sometimes just a never-ending chain of 4/3s
Sure.
is going to be good enough against some opponents.
Right, well, there's 1/4/3 attacking, and now, ooh, Life Caller's Bestiary.
Yeah, so binning that one. The Bestiary really good against these control decks, but not exactly what he's looking for here. And, wow, no
land
No
there.
fourth land,
So he
yeah.
had to bin both cards because that's what he's interested in right now, but does have a pair of 4-3s. Well, he has one 4-3.
Yeah.
We've seen this dance before from Asa.
The Battle of the Bridge doing a good job of keeping Asa alive while also...
All right. Gets in for 4 again. We've been having some troubles with the life bar there, so we've just sort of hidden away. I'll see if I can get some life total updates in my ear.
Yeah, I think the battle offset it, the moment of craving offset. Asa's still at a healthy life total here. And just not a lot of high-impact cards coming from Bobby on his side of the table based on what Asa's deck is capable of. If you want to pressure Asa's deck, I think Planeswalkers are really good. Last game we saw how good Chandra could be.
All right, so Mastermind's acquisition. What are we getting here?
I think Hour of Promise?
Yeah, I think Hour of Promise you just get to ramp up, and then you get to see all the crazy stuff he gets to do after that. Or it's just Wildest Dreams again.
Yeah, I mean,
He's not
I'm certain that Ace has played more with this deck than I have because I have not played at all with this deck.
Just by virtue of the one game we've already seen.
Yes.
This deck, I'm in love with this deck.
Same. Yeah, I was just before this started, I was thinking to myself, like, oh man, Sam's deck looks real sweet. I'm excited to jam some games with Sam's deck. And the moment that we started watching this deck, I was like, I'm not going to end up playing a single game with Sam's deck. This deck exists.
Oh yeah, this is a very JVL deck for sure.
If I can Ranger of Eos for things that I can sit around for, Mastermind's Acquisition is so a Jake Van Lunen kind of card. I'm into it.
Ooh, Carnage Tyrant.
That's a nice one. Maybe that's what the Mastermind acquired.
Really, you go in the tank, you show off your 12th level intellect, and what you come up with is a giant green dinosaur?
Sometimes you need to entertain some kids. Even if you are a Mastermind.
Yep, it's hexproof. Yep, it's huge.
Trampling monster.
All right, Rekindling Phoenix is the play.
And that is enough power to trade with that Carnage Tyrant, if that's what Bobby's in the market for.
Man, I would be in the market for that if I was Asa.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Asa, you don't hate that. The problem is that the Rekindling Phoenix would come back.
Sure.
So he would have to, use all of his mana this turn on an If Near Dead lands just to get the egg off the table.
Now there's the Hour of Promise we've been talking about. So he's going to have more than enough deserts in play when this resolves. So he's going to get some zombie tokens.
And he'll also have the City's Blessing.
Yes.
You might be thinking to yourself, well, why does that matter?
I am thinking that. Why does that matter?
Well, he has this card called Arc of Arazka in his deck.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and the City's Blessing with Arc of Arazka provides him a really nice long-term advantage. Oh, there's that card that we just spoke of.
There's that shiny City's Blessing.
A few zombies for your trouble. Hour of Promise is a real good card.
Oh, I
That's
love that card.
So much power. 2 lands, and not basics. We're talking any land.
So Arch of
Pair of
Orizaka says 5 tap, draw a card. Activate this only if you have the City's Blessing. Also taps for mana for colorless, so super sweet. And look at this. Just